Hey, what's up, guys? This is Neal Reyes, and I want to welcome you to today's episode of Champions Minute. You know, many people have heard the principle of sowing seed, but have you ever heard the principle of twice sown seed? Well, we're going to talk about that today. Get ready. You know, many people have heard about the principle of sowing seed. In fact, oftentimes it's been taught not only in churches, but families have taught it, whether they have a spiritual upbringing in the church or not. So when you talk about sowing seed, most people know what you're talking about, at least to some degree. But have you ever heard about the principle of a twice sown seed? Well, today we're going to talk about that in this lesson that I've titled Apple Seed. Again, today's topic that we're teaching about, I've titled Apple Seed. When we talk about a twice sown seed, it's first important to understand exactly what sowing a seed is. You know, I could take you to the Word right now and show you about the parable of the sower, where it talks about the different types of ground that the sower dropped seed on. You know, some was on good seed, some was on rocky soil, some was on thorny soil, you know, some was on the sand. And each one of those has a different type of soil that they go in. You know, if you drop seed in the sand has no substance to it. So the seed grows quickly, it grows root, but when the storm comes, it's easily plucked away because there is nothing solid to hold on to. If we're talking about the ground of stony ground, well, stony ground, if you drop a seed on it, it might grow quickly because it has shallow soil, but it'll never grow lasting roots because it can't grow through the rocks because of the rocky ground. So when the sun comes or when the weather comes and the storm comes, it'll be blown away quickly because it didn't have a foundation of solid root. In addition to that, you also have thorny ground. And thorny ground is when you drop a seed in a soil that's surrounded with thorns. As that seed takes root and tries to mature and grow up, the thorns around it are quick to choke it out and squeeze the life out of it. But then there's the good ground. And the good ground is when you sow a seed in good ground where it's able to grow deep root, it's able to have substance and hold on to things around it. And when the storms of life come, the seed is able to weather the storm because it had something meaningful to grow around. The conditions of our heart are much like that, and how we plant those seeds are very important. So that is what it means to plant a seed. And there's all kinds of seeds we can plant within life. But today I want to talk with you about the twice sown seed. What do I mean about a twice sown seed? Let me share something with you. The reason why we've called today's teaching Apple Seed, and you may have heard me mention this in previous teachings, is a while back, and when I say a while back, many years ago, I should say, many a moon ago. Many years ago, I had a close friend of mine share something with me as we were fellowshipping. You know, it tells us in the Word that iron sharpens iron. And we were fellowshipping with each other and sharpening each other. And I heard him tell me a statement, and it's always stuck with me. And it's something I've used in my teachings many times. Well, he had shared with me that day, and I'll share with you, that man knows how many seeds can come out of one apple. But only God knows how many apples can come from one seed. I'm going to share that again. Man knows how many seeds may come out of one apple, but only God knows how many apples can come from one seed. Think about that. If I'm holding an apple today and I look at that, man knows more or less how many seeds are going to come out of that apple every time. It's a mathematical thing. I mean, it's something we know that we've proven. You can cut open 1,000 apples and they'll all have similar seeds in them. But at the same time, how will man ever know how many apples can come out of one seed? The fact is we can't. Only God knows that. Only God knows the power that one seed, one apple seed has when placed in the right ground and it grows. Only God knows how many hundreds, if not thousands upon thousands of apples that one seed will produce. Well, when we share our faith with others, we're doing much of the same thing. When we turn around and share our faith with others and speak to them about Christ, we have an opportunity to sow a seed within their life. Now, sometimes when we sow those seeds, it might be a seed that we see grow up into fruition, and we're able to apostle that, so to speak, and groom and grow that person. But other times, you'll simply share a seed, and you may not have any interaction with that person ever again. But the growth of that seed will be credited to you in heaven for the action you did of sowing the seed into their life. And just like sowing a seed, there's also the principle of watering a seed. Some of us in life are called to sow seeds into people's lives. Others are called to water it. But every day when you get up as a believer, you should have, so to speak, a full bag of seed. And when you go throughout the day, you're scattering seed all over the place. Sometimes it's a seed that you intentionally mean to plant. But other times it's the seed that's simply fallen out of your bag that you're scattering as you're simply walking down the road. In other words, in life, we're always sowing some type of seed. Some type of seed is falling out of our bag. But what type of seed are you sowing? Now, when I talk about the principle of the twice sown seed, here's a good example of that. If I mention the name Billy Graham, most people know who Billy Graham is. This is a man who many people within ministry look up to. He's a man who has sown so many seeds and has reaped so many salvations for the Lord. And as he's done that, many times in his crusades when he's been about and he's spoken and he's evangelized, many thousands of people have come to know Jesus through him. In fact, I will say it's probably more like many millions of people. And as they've done that, each one of those people, when we sow our faith with someone and they come to know Jesus because of the testimony that we shared, that is a seed sown. But what happens when that person grows on in their walk with the Lord and they sow seeds to other people? The fact is, there may be people who approach Billy Graham in heaven who tell him that through his ministry they got saved, and they may have never heard him, not even one time. But how would that mean that they got saved through his ministry? Through a principle known as the twice sown seed. A great example I'll give you is this. Another well-known evangelist that's known around the world is Jesse Duplantis. He's one of my favorite pastors to listen to. And Jesse Duplantis, if you've ever heard his testimony, and Jesse Duplantis one day was watching a television broadcast, and when it was of Billy Graham, and Billy Graham was talking about knowing the Lord, and he gave an altar call, and Jesse Duplantis from his hotel room accepted Jesus as his Lord and Savior. Now, I'm sure he's probably gone on to meet Billy Graham since then, but this is a man who was living a rock and roll lifestyle who no one knew as far as in the faith. When I say no one knew, there were a lot of people who knew him from the rock style, but Billy Graham did not know that gentleman, I'm sure. And he turned around and he shared a message that the Lord inspired him to give. And he sowed a seed into Jesse Duplantis' life. If you know anything about Jesse Duplantis, he has now traveled the world many times over. He has one of the best worldwide evangelism ministries. He goes around, he's what's known in some places as the Apostle of Joy. He is absolutely fun to listen to. He's enjoyable, he's funny, but he has so many deep truths he'll share. But this is a man who got saved by listening to a TV broadcast of Billy Graham. And as he was listening to this television broadcast, he got saved and he went on to become a pastor. And through his ministry, many thousands of lives, if not millions of lives, have received Jesus as their Lord and Savior. That is what I refer to as the power of the twice sown seed. If you wake up in the morning and the devil's beating on your door and telling you how insignificant you are, or if you wake up in the morning and you feel like you haven't discovered your true purpose in life, let me help you by connecting with the first step. The first step about discovering your destiny and purpose in life is by sowing and scattering seeds that draw people to the Lord. As you begin to do that and you focus on taking care of God's things, He'll begin to minister to you and show you about your things and what He would have you do. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed this teaching. We want to invite you, as always, to swing by our website at nealreyes.com, where you can find all of our teachings available to stream at no cost to you. In addition to that, we invite you to follow us and connect with us on social media. You can find us on our YouTube channel at Neal Reyes, or you can find us on our Facebook page or on Twitter. Guys, if these teachings are meaning something to you, then we ask that you come alongside of us and share these on your social media feeds with your friends. Leave comments down below if you'd like. Interact with us and show us exactly how these teachings are ministering to you. And if there's teachings or other subjects you'd like to be taught in, go by our webpage and through the contact page, shoot us a quick note. We'll take those things before the Lord and pray about it, and as we're led, we'll teach on those subjects as well. Guys, as always, I want to remind you that Jesus is Lord and He loves you, and so do we. Thank you, and have a blessed day.